Hey everyone, Luke here. Today we're going to take a little walkthrough of a game called Stardew Valley. So listeners of the Party Loaded podcast might have heard us talk about this one a little bit before. It's a farming simulation sort of game, community building, adventure sort of roleplay style game. Came out in late February, and in just over a month it's already amassed about 1 million plus lazy sales, so it's doing pretty good, worth taking a look at. So we're going to have a little bit of a guided gameplay tour, and I'll show you what it's all about. So jumping into the game, we have of course the main menu screen. So we're going to load up our, here's one we prepared earlier, farm. So of course we've got the endgame farm. It is in the middle of fall on the second year, so a lot of the setup you're going to see is actually quite well established right into the middle of the game. It's certainly a lot more than you see when you very first get started, so let's jump in. Now the way the game generally works is that you will start off each day by basically rising and getting out of bed, and then you've got a whole bunch of stuff that you want to do during the day. You do have a finite amount of resource though to get everything done, so that resource is twofold. You've basically got your time of day. You can see up in the top corner here it is Tuesday the 9th of the month, 6:20 AM. Now if we're not careful we'll let that time tick away and get away from us, and we'll have nothing, no time left to do what we need to do. The second thing is we've actually got an energy bar, which is down the bottom. You can see that green energy bar. So everything that we actually want to do during the day, most things actually expend energy. So if you're going to go out the back into your farmland and start ploughing fields or watering crops, then of course it takes a bit of effort. You need some food to actually stay energized. You need a good sleep to actually get a good day's work in. All that sort of stuff is accounted for in game. So we have our inventory here, so we've got a bunch of different stuff. You can see that I've got a stack of crops that I've been growing already, a bunch of tools which I use for my general farming. So we've got a watering can, we've got a pickaxe, an axe, a scythe, milk pail for milking cows. Don't water cows. What am I talking about? We've got a steel rod for fishing, all sorts of good stuff. So if we exit out of that, you'll actually see that a bunch of our most commonly used tools sit down the bottom in our action bar here. For anyone who's played Minecraft before, functions very similarly, so you can actually cycle through them with your mouse and pick what you're going to use. So anyway, let's actually explore around. Now you can see this is my house. I've actually spent a bit of time decorating it, so we've picked up a few items. We've got a giant bear statue there, which is an exploit from one of my earlier adventures. Bunch of chests around the place, which I use to store stuff in. We actually have a gem maker here, which is pretty handy, so you find some precious gems, you can actually make copies of them, which is great. We have an oil maker here, which has actually produced a bottle of vegetable oil for me, which is pretty handy for cooking, so I'm just going to grab that now. And we have a TV. Now the TV is probably my first stop every single morning, because when you're working on a farm, the weather's kind of important, and fortunately we actually have a weather channel. So let's check out the weather report for tomorrow. So welcome, your number one source for weather news and entertainment, and the weather forecast for tomorrow is it's going to be cloudy with gusts of wind throughout the day. Okay, so that's not too bad. Now, generally when you're a farmer, rain is one of your best friends. When you're actually going through a period of lots of showers, one thing that gets done for you automatically is the watering of your plants. So you actually don't have to go out and spend time watering them yourself, which is pretty handy. But not to be tomorrow, so we have one more channel we're going to check out as well. There is a fortune teller which you can watch the channel of. So fortune in the game is a bit of a mechanic revolving around luck. If you're going to have an extremely fortuitous day or a very lucky day, then things like fishing give you a better chance of success, or going and hitting rocks in the mine. You might actually find some precious ore and gems more frequently if you're having a lucky day. So we have a glimmer within my scrying orb, a shard of knowledge from the future. The spirits are very happy today. So this is one of the best results. So we could actually have a pretty lucky day if we went out fishing and stuff. So I might try and do that. Alright, so let's wander outside. This is Endgame Farm. So, we've actually got a mailbox there. People are sending us messages. And looks like we're going to be having a valley fair in the town square. So, very, very nice of Mayor Lewis to invite us, which is pretty cool. There's certain events that actually happen each month during the game, and some of them you actually get to go along and take part in different activities or compete in different events. And this one looks like you're actually going to have to bring 9 items that best showcase your talents as a farmer. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm going to exit out of that. Alright, so we've got a bunch of crops down here. You can see if we wander around, we've got some fruit trees with some nice delicious apples growing. We've got some pomegranate trees as well, which we can knock down some pomegranates. What else have we got? We've got a cheese maker here, so if we actually gather enough milk from our cows, we can make our own cheese. Pretty awesome. We also have some mayonnaise making machines, a whole row of them, so I've been making my own mayonnaise. And strangely enough, if you actually have ducks and you gather duck eggs, you can make duck mayonnaise. Never tried duck mayonnaise, sounds pretty tasty. Alright, so we also have a bunch of different plants. So down below we've got some grapevines, so we can pick some grapes. We've also got some cranberry bushes, we can pick some cranberries. We've got some, we're going to need our scythe for that one, so we can actually harvest some amaranth. And we also have some artichokes. So a nice variety of different plants there. Guarding all of our plants, of course, we've got a stack of scarecrows because nothing ruins a farm quicker than a whole bunch of crows eating all your crops. So you can actually wander up to your scarecrows and see how successful they've been. So let's have a look at this one. This one scared off 2 crows. Not too bad. We've got a funky looking scarecrow over here that looks like a giant marsupial of some sort. This one scared off 4 crows. So as far as being a scarecrow goes, this one is outstanding in its field. Alright. Anyway, enough of the jokes, let's move on to the barn area. So, alright, we actually have a coop, which we'll explore first. So jumping in here, we've got a stack of chickens and ducks and a couple of rabbits. As you can see, they've been pretty busy laying eggs. The floor is absolutely covered in them, so can, well, our inventory is full, otherwise we'd grab a few of those. This despicably evil-looking chicken here actually lays black void eggs for me, which is a kind of, I don't know, it must be a delicacy in some circles. Alright, so out of the way, chickens. Let's get out of here. A bit of affection for the duck on the way out. Okay, we also have a greenhouse. Now, the greenhouse is really handy. Certain crops in your farm will actually only grow during certain seasons. So various plants will only grow in fall or only grow in summer, various things like that. The greenhouse is actually a climate-controlled environment, so you can grow whatever crop you want at any point in the year, which is really, really handy. So we've got a nice little group of different crops here, a good variety. And I've actually set up a sprinkler system in here as well, so I don't actually have to waste time coming in and watering them, which is really handy. So these little purple things in the middle will actually sprinkle water over, 2 rows thick of plants, essentially, which is pretty cool. Let's head out of there, over to, we've got a few trees set up to provide some maple syrup and pine tar and that sort of thing. We've got some tappers sitting on the side of them. And here is our barn. So we've got a bunch of different animals here. We've got some pigs, got some sheep, which we can snip for wool and actually make our own cloth, which is pretty handy. We've got some cows, of course, which produce our milk. So there you go. Alright, now that is the farm, so let's venture into the town proper. I'm going to head down the bottom of the farm area, and you can see there's a stack of grass growing here, which is actually really handy to cut for hay, to feed my animals. So there we go, let's chop a few on the way through. Now, when you first actually get here, there's a bunch of scrub and debris and logs and stones and stuff that you need to actually cut out of the way to be able to build your farm. And all of that stuff is actually harvestable resources as well. So you can, cut wood to build buildings, barns, silos, your chicken coops, all that sort of stuff. And you've also got stone, of course, for constructing buildings and various different bits and pieces. Right, so we have here the shop where you can buy animals and farm supplies. Now, this is usually womaned by a lady by the name of Marnie. She appears to not be here at the moment. It is 12:50 though, so apparently she's left the front door of a shop open and is not actually keeping an eye on things. Could come in and steal anything. But I'm not going to do that. All right, we'll wander a bit down further. We've got a couple of cows in the front yard there. We're actually going to take the shortcut down the bottom route into the town. So we've got a few of the different townspeople's houses here. Now, like in most games, you can be an absolute creepster and just wander into people's houses and say hello. So, hello, who we got here? This is Kent. So Kent looks like a bit of a military dude. I'm not quite sure what his history is. Things haven't changed much since I've been gone. Might have just come back from a tour in Afghanistan, who knows. Alright, and I think we've got Kent's younger brother here who's strumming away on the guitar. Now, he won't let you into his room because you're not good enough friends with him, or I'm not at least. But if you actually build up a relationship with Sam, you might be able to get into his room there and do God knows what. Alright, you can also wander around and check on people's trash, which is a slightly creepy thing to do, and you don't want to do it when anyone's around, but yeah, every now and then you can find some good food and bits and pieces in there. Alright, so we also have, here's Evelyn. So she is the elderly woman in the town. And an okay rapport going with Evelyn, so we've got 2 out of 10 hearts. As you raise the relationship level with each of the villagers, they sometimes unlock different perks for you, so they might actually send you recipes in the mail, or you might get special cutscenes with them, or various different events happen. It's pretty cool. Alright, so moving on, we have the local bar, the Star Drop Saloon, so you can head in there for a bit of a tipple. And Gus behind the bar there, Gus is a big fan of oranges, just so you know. You can certainly raise your style points with him by offering him some fruit. At sort of evening times, this place tends to get pretty packed, so if you want to actually catch up with a bunch of the different village inhabitants, it's not a bad time to do it. Alright, so let's wander on out. We've also got shops where we can sell or buy different goods, seeds, plants, farm stuff. Basically, you can make a bit of money that way. And a hospital, if things go sour, you actually end up here. Now, if you actually are out too late in the day, you do collapse in a heap and sort of faint, and someone has to carry you home, or sometimes you actually wind up in the hospital. So, alright, so we're going to wander on over to the top here. Now, one of the many sort of quests during the game, or one of the big things that the game sort of rotates around, is the local community centre. So you've actually been tasked with the job of restoring the Pelican Town Community Centre. And if we just wander in here, you'll see that most of it's fairly dilapidated. There's a lot of broken floorboards and, oh my god, what are these little things? Alright, so there's little forest spirits that basically live in the community centre. And you can appease the forest spirits by offering them various different goods to unlock these different wings of quests. Now, if you do that, you can see these little plaques here that sort of show me what I need. So the bulletin board, I've unlocked about 3 of these, and there's a few things that I need left. So if I collect a special Nautilus shell here, I'll unlock one of these different bundles. So if you unlock these, the forest spirits will actually basically do all the work for you and rebuild the community centre, which is pretty cool. So collecting all of the different items required for this is a pretty big part of the game. It's one of the major quests and takes quite a while to do. Made even more tricky by the fact that some of the items are only available in different seasons, so you really have to be on the ball. Alright, let's wander on over here. Now if we can find a body of water, we'll do a spot of fishing. Oh, there we go. So let's wander over to a point where we can actually get onto a bridge. Alright, wandering over here. Wander. The town's actually deceptively large, so you can spend a while exploring it. Oh, here we go. Here's another one of the villagers. What do we got? We have Sebastian. Pumpkin spice this, pumpkin spice that. Man, I get sick of these seasonal fads. Okay, so I'm not going to give pumpkins to Sebastian as a gift. But what I am going to do is head out into the middle of this island here and have a crack at fishing. Now, fishing is actually one of my favourite sort of mini mechanics in the game. It's a lot of fun. So you cast your rod out like that, trying to get the best distance possible, and wait for a bite, which is a little exclamation point when it pops up. There we go. So we've got a hit. Alright, so you have to try and keep this fish within your little bar here, and if you let it get out of your sights, it can escape. So watching the bar fill up at the side. There we go. Success. We've got a fish. We've got a chub, a 14-inch chub. I occasionally get a 14-inch chub. Alright. Try one more time. Let's go for the big one. Now, if we're lucky, we'll catch a huge tuna or an anchovy or something like that. Maybe a smallmouth bass. Oh, here we go. One on the line. This one's certainly not agile. Easy. Perfect catch. That's a carp. Not bad. Not bad. We're running out of room though, so I'm going to have to ditch some milk. Alright. No, that's enough fishing for now. Oh, no, we've got another one. Alright, one more. Quickly catch it. Come on, come on, come on. Hey, there's a treasure chest. Alright, so sometimes you get these little treasure chests that pop up. You can try and capture them, but the trick is that while you're capturing the chest, the fish might actually be getting away. So trying to do both of them, as you can see, is a little bit of a challenge. Like, oh, missed the chest. Alright. We do have another chub, though. Alrighty, let's wander off the island. Now, the other bit that I want to show you is we can actually go mining during the day. The mine's a pretty dangerous place, though. It's actually one of the areas of the game where there's a combat mechanic that you can navigate. So let's head in here. Now, there is a little minecart which has been set up as a bit of a quick, easy shortcut through different areas of the town, which is great. But there's also an elevator installed, so I'm going to jump in the elevator. Now, in the mine, I've actually unlocked all 120 levels of this particular one. You can go down in groups of 5 and eventually unlock them. I'm just going to head down to, let's say, level 90, just to give you a bit of a sample as to what this looks like. Now, in the mine, there are monsters around. They take different shapes and forms, and you want to be armed and prepared. So I've got my trusty sword here. I've got an obsidian edge blade. So I'm going to jump down into the next level, and, well, there we go, there's a rock in the way, so we're going to use our pickaxe and smash that out of the way. Now, you can find lots of useful stuff down here. Lots of different gems, precious stones, ores, and you can see there's actually a bit of gold there which I can dig up. So let's get the pickaxe, take a crack at that. Inventory's full, otherwise I'd be picking up stacks of little gold nuggets right now. But what we want to do is run around and see if we can actually find one of the little creeps down here. We've got some monsters that lie in wait. No, this floor's looking pretty empty. One of the lucky ones. So let's flick over to our pickaxe and see if we can actually find the exit out of here. Now, usually the stairway down to the next level is hidden under one of the rocks. And you can dig for a while to get it, or sometimes you'll actually just hit a couple of enemies and then it'll appear out of nowhere. I'm not having much luck finding it. Let's jump over to the main ladder and go down another level. We might actually find something a bit more interesting. So, alright, we're going to leave the mine and we're going to jump down into the lift again, and let's try our luck at level 110. Okay, things are looking a little bit more fiery down here. Whoa, stacks of rocks in the way. Some dude got caught in the wall and looks like he's been buried in there. Let's dig our way through, and if we don't find any monsters, I'll be amazed. No, there we go. Alright, so we've got this creepy little sorcerer guy. So if you let him hit you, you can actually see you've got a health bar down the side there next to your energy bar. And some of the monsters have magical abilities that can actually prove to be pretty dangerous for you. No, not this guy. I've managed to cut him in two, and if he's dropped any loot, that can be quite handy as well. Sometimes there's monster loot like bat wings and slime chunks and things like that. Now, it's actually getting on quite late, so it's 8:40 PM, so I'm going to get out of here for now, because falling asleep down in the mines is pretty bad. You can actually lose a whole bunch of levels, equipment gets taken off you, and if you actually die down here, if you got knocked out by a monster, yeah, bad times ahoy. So let's get out of here. We're going to leave the mine. We're going to take a quick trip back to the main farm in the minecart, so jump in. We've got a few different options of location here. We're going to go to the bus stop, which is actually right near our farm. You can actually take this bus out to a different desert area too, which has a more challenging dungeon. And you can see there's actually various different bits of stuff laying around on the ground which you can forage too. Some of the fruits and things that you find around when you're foraging are quite valuable, so they're good to sort of chuck in the shops and sell off for a nice tidy profit. Speaking of selling stuff, so this little chest at the beginning of your farm entrance here, it's kind of like an outgoing mailbox. You can chuck whatever you want to sell in there. So we're going to sell off some of our corn, chuck in some artichokes, truffle we don't need, maple syrup we've got plenty of, sell off some of our pickled tomato, hit OK. And basically when we go to sleep, Lewis, the town mayor, will come along and he'll collect everything in our little outgoing box there and sell off on the market for us, and we'll end up with some cash, which is pretty cool. So it's getting pretty late, 10 PM, probably time to turn in, so say hello to the cat, give me a little bit of a pet, and it is time for bed. So we're going to jump in, go to sleep for the night, and see what profit we've made. So from farming, we've got about 1,200 from selling off some corn and various different pieces. Foraging, we've got a little bit of profit there, and we've got other as well. Moving on to the next day, we rinse and repeat and do it all over again. So the game's extremely fun with regards to the farming aspect. You can build out quite a healthy little enterprise with different crops and things. The roleplay aspect, where you're sort of going through and meeting the different villagers and learning what they like, what they don't like, trying to win their affections and that sort of stuff, is really fun. And the combat stuff is actually really cool too. So some of the later levels of the mines, and especially when you go out to the tombs in the desert, can be quite challenging. And as I said before, if you actually get knocked out by one of the monsters, it can be pretty bad. So you want to make sure you're doing the right thing in there. But that is Stardew Valley. So hopefully you enjoyed that little walkthrough. That was a very, very small snippet of an otherwise quite massive game. So if you have a chance, check it out if you're into that sort of thing. I've certainly had a ton of fun playing it. I'm probably about 50 hours in so far, so it's been a pretty good investment as far as I can tell. Thanks for watching. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like and subscribe for more content. And you can find everything Channel Endgame, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, or check us out at channelendgame.com. See you on the next video.